Hey, what's going on, everybody? BDF44 coming at you with another video. Okay, so Denver Nugget news. Not so good Denver Nugget news. Michael Porter Jr. is going to be out for a very long, indefinite amount of time. He's going to have a procedure done on his back. Same situation that kind of lowered his draft stock and ultimately kept him out of his rookie season, if I'm not mistaken, his sophomore season as well. This is a pretty devastating blow, obviously, for him first, just considering so much of the progress that he's made in his career, trying to come back from this thing, and then ultimately to have it come back around and have him struggle, first of all, throughout the beginning of his season. He really didn't look like himself, had people questioning him when it was really the back. So I knew it was probably something else going on with his health. I think we're seeing that as well in some other players too who may be struggling and are kind of dealing with some things uh, health wise. Unfortunately, this situation will require surgery again. This is, if I'm not mistaken, a third surgery on that back. Um, they said that they expect him to fully recover, so that is very, very encouraging. But unfortunately, here we're a bit more pessimistic than that. We're talking about a back here. I appreciate your encouragement, telling me I'm going to fully recover, but this is the third time we're going through this with his back. The Denver Nuggets just paid him a pretty large sum of money, max contract, if I'm not mistaken, which was, a lot of people wondered why they paid the people they paid, and we've questioned it here on this channel. I don't think it's a situation where these guys don't deserve the money. They're good enough players, all of them. But you just wonder if the Denver Nuggets should be paying them, if as who they are, because in this situation you're just putting together too many players that have iffy health circumstances. So here we are. If I'm not mistaken, they also lost another player to an ACL. If I'm not mistaken, the player's name just escapes me, of course, but it's a young player that they got on their team as well. They just lost him like earlier in the week, so it's a devastating week for the Denver Nuggets to say the least. And they just paid all of these people. So I don't know, man. When you look at Denver, their situation looks pretty scary. Um, you're not going to throw in the towel on their season just yet, because there is an opportunity, with everything that's being said, that they'll actually have a healthy team at the end of the season. There's a chance that actually happens. They didn't say that um, Porter's season was over necessarily, even though I would say it would be wise for Denver to shut him down. I would, but that has not been ruled out just yet. Um, Obviously, they're expecting Jamal Murray to come back at some point in time in the season. They expect that. From what I understand, his progress is going well, I guess, from what I've heard. Um, Unfortunately, the player they lost to injury just now, the young player that I can't, his name is not coming to mind. I think it's PJ Dozier, if I'm not mistaken. PJ Dozier, that's who that is. Who went down with the knee. I don't think he'll be back. But for them, he doesn't play that big of a role, so I think they will be okay. Look, Denver's heard this out of me. If anybody who watches my channel heard me talk about Denver, you know what I think they should do. You just gotta feature Bowl, man. I don't think it's a difficult thing to ask at this stage, since everybody's gone down to injury. You have a healthy Jokic and no team around him. I mean, you got to give respect to some of the players they got. They got players, Campazzo and Morris. They got guys, man. It's not like they don't have a team that can kick some tail when healthy, but with the injuries that they're sustaining and the cap situation that they have because of the people they've paid, you just don't see a whole lot of hope if they're not able to get all of their guys back healthy. We're not just talking about this season. We're talking about the future. It just looks hopeless. They've just paid all these guys the beginning of all these contracts. Got Gordon, who a lot of us believe is overpaid, and probably should not be at that rate at all on this team. Now they got him eating up the cap, making it so that they can't get a lot better unless they move him. Not too many people are going to want that contract. So I just look at the Denver Nuggets and just say, man, obviously Jeremy Grant was not within their control. It was reported that he just wanted to play elsewhere. So they couldn't keep him, but you just want to see them not be so hasty in signing Gordon just because they lost Grant. And I think that's what they did, and I think they're going to pay for that. if they didn't have that Gordon contract, at least you could see some wiggle room for them to make themselves better. But the fact of the matter is, they're just too reliant upon Porter and Murray's contracts at this time. It just is what it is. So if you ask me, the Denver Nuggets are in a world of trouble. I don't think they have a trade that can fix their problems. They just need guys to come back healthy. And it's poor Jokic, Poor Jokic. He is also signed on for long term, obviously. He's clearly coming off an MVP champion, MVP season, if I can get my words right. And you just don't want to see him in a situation where the season is hopeless. This is a prime year for him. He should be playing for a championship. He otherwise will be playing for a championship if his team comes together. So you don't want to see this. You don't want to panic if you're him. You're not sitting here saying, man, I need to get out of here or nothing crazy like that. You just got to weather the storm. Everybody's settled into Denver. That's where they want to be. They got Mike Malone, their coach, they're very happy with. I wish he would play Bol Bol, but aside from that, I don't have too many things to say about him negatively. I just think that they just got hit with the injury bug, and that's kind of what happens. It can happen to anybody. We look at some of the teams around the league. Minnesota's dealt with this the entire time. You talk about D'Angelo Russell, in and out of the lineup. You think about Karl Anthony Towns in and out of the lineup. They just got Anthony Edwards, and they haven't had a full spectrum of stars probably in several years until right now. You think about all these different teams. So yeah, it's just Denver's turn to get bit by the injury bug. It just is what it is. But as of right now, we ask that they just take their time and bring in Porter back. That's what I'm saying on this channel. Don't rush him back just because of these circumstances. I think the most important thing to do is to make sure that he's healthy and can resume his career at the trajectory that he expects to. And if that means him sitting out another year or two, I would be okay with that. He is still a very young player. There's a lot of career left for him. But this is a very, very pivotal point in his life. Basketball aside, you do not want to play with your back. And look, I'm going to keep it all the way real. I would not be mad at that kid if he retired. Nope. And that doesn't mean that I don't think he can come back and be healthy and play a great career and all that. I don't think that that's something that you wonder about. I know he's going to play a great career, but when you start having back issues, you're in your 20s, bro. They say life is short. Yes, it's short, but it's long when you're in chronic pain, and when you got a back issue, and then you're talking about multiple surgeries, and then you're talking about banging up against 7-footers and big bodies. Nah, I just understand, especially given the fact that he's already signed his contract, he got money now. If he decides to make a different decision for his career or his life rather, you'll get support here, because I just think that that's a scary thing to play with. Especially when you're talking about a vertebrae, So, yeah, that's what I'm thinking. If you can walk away from the game fully upright and very, very wealthy, I think you got a W, and that goes for anybody. So, yeah, man, that's what I got to say about that. Hopefully everybody comes back healthy. We're in a good space, technology-wise, conditioning-wise, stuff like that. They got scientists out there that can help him with everything he needs to do to not only get healthy, but have a long-lasting life. So that's most important. Just stay true to what he needs to do to get back. So that's what I got, man. What can I say? Denver Nuggets, I'm afraid they're not going to be contenders anymore. I'm not going to even lie to you guys. I got them falling all the way out of it now. They're going to need everybody to be healthy in order for them to compete with a very, very tough Western Conference and an even tougher Eastern Conference, it seems to me. So, yeah, it is what it is, man. Wide open Western Conference. I'm looking around in the Western Conference. I say there are opportunities for some struggling teams to sneak in and grab a playoff spot that maybe would not have had an opportunity. You're seeing teams start to fall off a little bit. Denver basically out. So who steps up? As a Laker fan, I hope it's us. But I somewhat expect to be there anyway, just off the strength of our talent and the strength of our name. But you look at some of these other teams, obviously Phoenix is very much in there. Utah's been struggling a little bit. Memphis, you got to look and see what's going on with Ja's knee. I'm looking at teams like Minnesota. We've already mentioned them. They should be a playoff team this year. Zion's coming back, even though the Pelicans have sucked all year long. Zion and B.I. are an entirely different dynamic, and they're going to be a team that's going to string together some victories if they can stay healthy soon enough. off the strength of his 20 and 30 points performances, it's going to be helpful for them. I expect them to start winning games, especially if they can just start using some of their bench a little better. But that's a whole nother story. But that's the kind of thing I'm talking about. Teams that you see that are sucking right now in the Western Conference, do not be surprised if they step it up. The Clippers, I don't know where they are in the standings, but as they get healthier, I think they should try to make themselves a little trade or something to get a little better. They're a team I'm paying attention to because they're so well coached. They're not going to stay struggling if they're struggling at all. I'm looking at a team like Sacramento. They've just fired their coach. Starting to get Bagley back in the fold. Maybe they make a trade or two. I love their guard tandem. I like Rashawn Holmes. They're finding stuff in different players like Metu and stuff like that. That's a team I'm looking at to say maybe they could sneak up and get into the play-in tournament. I wouldn't rule that out for Sacramento. They are a decent defensive team, especially when they're fully healthy. Harrison Barnes is just good enough of a star-level scorer to keep them steady every night with that, and have a closer every night no matter what. De'Aaron Fox is up and down, but he started his season slow. He's not going to get any worse as the season progresses, in my opinion. That's an improving basketball club. So it's a lot of stuff, man. When you consider Denver and their injury issues, it's like, man, you just see an opportunity for somebody to just step up and push them back. So maybe. Now, this is worst case scenario for Denver, and you don't want to hear this if you're a Denver Nugget fan, but I'm going to say this, and I'm going to mean this. If they miss the playoffs this year, I'm assuming they have their picks. I don't know, but I don't remember them messing up their situation in that regard. They should have their picks. If they miss the playoffs, I think a lottery pick would be great for the Denver Nuggets, because what they're lacking is flexibility. And unlike some of these other teams like the Lakers and some of these others who don't have their picks, they do. So if they were to miss the playoffs, they could pull a Golden State, so to speak, and kind of find some things in some places maybe over the next several months and next summertime period to kind of give them some Jordan Poole-ish type of energy, maybe find their Andrew Wiggins, so to speak. That's the kind of thing that Denver Nuggets needs to start thinking about doing, because this is basically a lost season for them, if I'm being completely real. I would sit Murray for the rest of the season. Start Campazzo, give him big minutes. Try to get Bones Highland. I don't know how healthy he is right now, but get him more involved. These are the type of things that I think Denver needs to do. And maybe you just miss the playoffs. Just miss the playoffs. Maybe Jokic kind of steps away with a rolled ankle or something, a faked injury or something to kind of. I'm thinking along the lines of, as I've referred to the San Antonio Spurs a lot in the year that Tim Duncan came in, the previous year when they ultimately just lost David Robinson early in the season and went from being the best team in the league to basically the worst team in the league overnight. Ended up getting Tim Duncan. This is the type of stuff that Denver needs to do, in my opinion, because it's what Golden State just did. They didn't have their stars. They sucked. They developed their players. They got picks, and they came back a contender, bigger than better than ever before. That's exactly what Denver needs to do. Punt this year, get you some assets, develop those young Bones Highland guys. Bowl, obviously. They'll come back better. Your stars will be back next year, and your team will be twice as good as they were this year, next year. That's the formula. So I like that if they follow that, instead of trying to make little moves to get better so that they can continue to contend for this season. I just don't think that gives them the best opportunity to be better overall. This is an opportunity to get an asset that they otherwise wouldn't even been thinking they could get. So miss the playoffs, Denver. That's the way to go. And that's what I got, man. My name is BDF44. Thank y'all for watching. I'm out.